Welcome. I'm excited to share this video with you. It's been on my mind. I call it the five laws of creation. Today, I want to talk about these five laws of creation, namely the first law, which is the most important law. So, to those of you who don't know me, my name is Samantha Kierkegaard Paulsen. I work as a business coach and a leadership coach. This is essential to you if you're starting out your business or if you're stuck in your business. This is the reason why you do everything in the wrong order, why you work hard and you don't see the results. So pay attention if you're starting up your business or you're in your business, but you don't understand why the results are not coming, or if there's something. If you're interested in creation and creating business or just philosophical around the topic, stay tuned. So today I'm going to talk about the five laws of creation. The five laws of creation is something I came up with in my own business coaching here in Denmark. It's inspired, the first law is inspired by Bob Proctor. So in Danish, it's called skabelseslovene. So the reason it's creation, it's because we create a new experience. So look at the five ones. So first laws of the five laws of creation are this. Number one, order. Number two, stay in the step you're in. Number three, finish what you start. Number four, do what you say. And number five, say what you do. When you follow these laws or these principles or these guidelines or these ways of managing what to do and how to act and behave throughout your day and in your business and in your life. So what I coach is a life model and a business model. So the first law was inspired by Bob Proctor when he said, heaven's first law is order. I remember hearing Bob say this to me, heaven's first law is order. And I thought, oh my God, I got to clean up. My house is a mess. It is true that you need order also around you. But the way I speak about order in my five laws of creation that came to me in my business coaching here in Denmark, it's sequence. So order is important, but sequence. So here it's like a recipe. What step do you do what in the sequence of steps? So that's the first law. The first law is the sequence of your actions. When do you do what? Down to many small things you wouldn't think really mattered, but it does. I just want to check that I'm recording. I am. Good to see you on full screen. Here we go. So it's the sequence, it's the recipe. So imagine if you're baking a cake, excuse me. And I actually did this. We baked the cake and I asked my son, did you put flour in? No, did you? So we baked the cake, we took it out and then we put the flour inside the cake, stirred it up and baked it again. It didn't turn out the same way as it was supposed to, right? So look at a recipe and just know and trust me that sequence, when you choose to do what, really matters. And there's reasons for this that I'll get back to. So it's the first law is sequence. But then when you do these sequence, it's important that you do the one thing first. So what's this one thing? There's always one thing, right? You're in the middle of your day, like, what's the one thing? Like tons of things to do. Someone tell me, like, I would ask my partners when I'm CEO in companies, and I would ask my partners or my assistants or my helpers, my coworkers, hey, what should I do now? Because I know that prioritizing is really, really important, right? So this concept of the one thing is something I heard in a book that's called The Number One Thing. And the only thing really I took away from this book was doing the one thing that makes everything else easier or unnecessary. Imagine that. So in whatever area of your life, there's this number one thing that just is the most effective. So in my business training, in my 5-day free Pop Your Business challenge, it's doing a Facebook Live. I get people to do a Facebook Live. That's the number one thing because that's what they're most afraid of, a Facebook Live on their own personal page. If they're not afraid of that, it could be a conversation with a family member. So there's this one thing that's blocking our money, our dreams, our vision. So doing a Facebook Live is a brilliant exercise. People have transformed themselves and other people when I pushed them lovingly into doing this. And if they hadn't done it, other sequence of things afterwards they wouldn't do. So a whole miracle starts, and it's a little weird that everything starts with a Facebook Live, but that is a perfect example of this number one thing because we're afraid of it. We stand out, we say hi to the world. We do, when you do something that you're really afraid of, that's the number one thing that will move you forward for many reasons. Just because you face your fears, but also because you find out what you were afraid of, it kind of disappears. And you don't get that experience when you don't do it. So there's always this number one thing. Also in sales, there's the number one thing. In business, normal, more boring business stuff, there's like good number one things that you need to have in place, that when you do that, you don't need to do as much. So every day when I coach my clients, there's only 1 to 2 important things. And I heard Bob say that many times as well. Bob Proctor was one of my mentors. Shanda Sumner was my coach. John Ashraf, I've also trained with. These are brilliant people, and I tap right into their wisdom, and so this is, it's inspired by them, but it is really my own creation. So there is this number one thing, and you only need to do 1 or 2 important things every day. Many people do many tasks. If you're busy, if you're too busy to meditate, you're too busy, right? So we do all these things, but they don't have any return. There's no return on investment on the energy and the time we put into these things. So the number one thing, meditation is an example. But I find that going into action is the number one thing, because meditation alone cannot create a new experience, but action alone can. But I'm also myself personally a great example of not just acting. So I've done tons of action. Action alone cannot produce results either, but they can produce a new experience and shift things around. While as if you only meditate, you don't get that experience. But once you've already taken some action and you already know what to do and you've done what you're afraid of, then very fast meditation is really the number one thing in the area of manifestation, for example, to be relaxed and to get into that creative zone. So sequence of actions, doing the number one thing, that's the first law. And the reason why this number one thing is important, apart from it having the biggest return on investment, a very important phrase I always coach into is return on investment. So doing the thing you're most afraid of gives the highest return on investment. In investment banking, that I worked in investment banking, there was a saying, or there's a phrase, or what do you call it? There's just this terminology called a risk reward. So look at that risk reward. That to me in my coaching means that the higher the risk, the more afraid you are, the more return you get. So it's kind of weird that having a conversation with a family member is what can make your business grow. But it really is. So all these things, I need a website, I need a funnel, I need to do this and that. We're running around doing all these things. And then there's this number one thing that we can just do. And we don't do it because we're afraid. But when you do it, I promise you, when you do what you're afraid of, that what you're afraid of, or the fear, it disappears, because fear is fiction. So the number one thing will give you that experience that fear is fiction. Oh my God, I've been living in this fictive world, and I was afraid of talking to my dad or my mom or my stepmom or my stepdad or my little brother, afraid of saying this thing. And then I didn't do it. But now that I did it, the fear went away. So you're afraid right until you jump out of the airplane, and it's just beautiful if you have a parachute. So it's also about number 3. What do you do? So if you're more obsessed with, or if you prioritize to sit and build your website so that it looks good, you're telling the world, or at least creator, like that looks down, I call it God. So God, creator, universe will see you creating a website because you want to look good, because you want to feel ready. So if you prioritize doing a website rather than servicing people that are out there needing you, and you don't just get beeped on shit, it's going to say shit, but I don't want to swear. But that's an important terminology. So that's that word I actually do use in my coaching. So let's not look at that like a swear word or cuss word. So get beeped on, but the right beep, right? So a website or a logo is a comfortable place to be in, because you're not taking any risks. So you're also sending out the message, I don't care enough about the people that I need to service. I would rather be relaxed. I would rather feel perfect. I would rather feel prepared. So preparation is a space that people get lost in. Preparation also sends out the signal, I want to be prepared. I just did a webinar. I've done two of them. The first one was like someone bought off the webinar live on the webinar, which was great. But his first thoughts, and he's so honest to share that with me because he's now a client. He's like, "What is she talking about?" Because I was talking about my free 5-day Pop Your Business challenge, where I teach people to do their own 5 days. But he hadn't been on one, so he didn't know what I was talking about. But still, he signed up, and now I forgot what I was going to say. Yeah, if you wait and be prepared, if I had waited, he wouldn't have been my client. And these miracles that literally happened afterwards wouldn't have happened. And even when in IT, when you do IT startups, which is a little different, right? It's venture capital, it's different, but they also have a saying. If you feel like you're ready to launch, you've launched too late. So there is this momentum doing it before you're ready. And that's when we get into the sequence of actions and how the brain tricks you, right? So what do? You get up, what do you send out? Do you send out, I'm ready for business and money? Or do you send up, I want to prepare, I want to be sure? That's selfish. You want to be sure? So look at what you're doing, and every choice that you make, every action that you take manifests and says something to somebody, even though they're not watching, right? What do you choose to do? What do you care about? Do you want to get clients? Do you want to give service to them? Or do you want to prepare your website? Or do you want to take another course? Oh my God, my friends and network that are taking courses and courses and courses to avoid doing things in the right order because they don't want to do what they're afraid of. Okay, so I get out of tangent. This is the first law. Heaven's first law is order. These are the reasons. This is what it composes of. Okay. So why is sequence so important? This is the first of the first law, is sequence, right? It's number one thing, preventing creation. So creation is creating something out of nothing. That is creation, to me at least. It is when you tap into you, the creator's power comes in of you and comes out of you, right? So why don't we do that, all of us? Why don't we go around creating miracles? When we can, because our brain says, when I X, then Y. When I did, then that. In Danish, did that. When I this, then that. When I have more money, then I'll do it. When I have more time, when I have more energy. The excuses that come up, the logical, rational excuses. If I had a gun, I would do it like this. That really helps you. I used to do my 5 days business coaching when I do them with a cowboy hat and a pistol, because it's way easier for me to dance and be myself than having a PowerPoint and saying, I did this and this and this. I will show myself so people can experience myself. You want people to experience you. You got to shut your brain off, because it will tell you these lies, lies, lies. When I this, then that. It's always when I that, then this. So that's why sequence is so important. So remember, notice what your brain tells you when I this, then that. Notice when it says when this, then that. Just notice it. Then I will invest in that program. I will go to the gym. I will change my life. When this, then that. When I feel better, then I'll do this. Then I'll reach out for help. No, when you reach out for help, then you'll feel better. So this X, when X can be time, energy, money, feel better, right? So it's actually, the X is the result that we want. So we tell us when I have the result, then I'll do the action that leads to the result. Yeah, but why don't you do the result that leads to the action? Why don't you do the action that leads to the result, so you'll have the result? How is the result going to come if you want the result first and then you're going to do the action that creates the results? That's kind of like putting the flour in after you bake the cake. I wish I had my slides for that here, because I want to show it in pictures, because pictures are also the number one thing. But it's my first time I'm doing this, so I will do it even better. But just imagine a bag of flowers, and imagine me and my son baking this cake and putting in flowers after we bake the cake, right? So X is the action that you want. When I feel better, when I have more money, when I have more time, when I have more energy, then I will do this thing. For example, take my coaching that will give you the time, because what I coach is a lifestyle and a life model and a business model where you deliver your service during 1 hour a week. There is more work, of course, but that's how you deliver it in a group program. And when you do your 5 days business challenges, where you invite people in to experience you for free, then you work 1 hour a day. So who would like to work 1 hour a week or 1 hour a day, right? And people tell me, oh, when I have more time, I'll do it. When I have more time, then I'll learn how to work 1 hour a week. Learn how to work 1 hour a week, then you'll have more time. Like the insanity that we listen to and that comes out of our mouths, mine too, mine too, right? So and then you state the action that will actually lead to the result, right? So why don't you just reverse those? When I learned from Samantha's 5-day Pop Your Business coaching, when I enrolled in that program that will teach me how to make a living by just being myself, I actually call it, I'm going to say the word shit again. So what I call my training now in Denmark is Danish phrase, lær at leve af dig selv. In English, I say, share your shit and make a living out of it, right? It sounds gross, but it really has profound truth in itself. So when you learn that, then you also learn to work like 1 hour a week, but then everything else it's involuntarily, it comes out of you. It's like you can't stop yourself. You want to do it. I was coaching this morning. I love it so much. They are saving my life and I'm saving their lives and we're saving their children's lives. And there's nothing I'd rather do. So when you tap into this, you do have time and you have energy, because the work you do gives you energy, and it's set up so that you have time. And I think you can see it on my face. You cannot conceal this. It's like poof. So it just really breaks my heart when people say, oh, I don't have time. If you don't have time to learn to live a life where to like just reverse it, right? Commitment, risk, da 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 da. So it's the opposite, right? You're mentioning the action last, but mention the action first, then you'll get the result. When I have more time, I'll meditate. Oh, there we go. Yes. Always opposite. A-O-A-O. A-O. Just whatever it takes for you to remember this. I do whatever it takes. I will do whatever to get this to stick into you so that it will make you live a little different, think a little different, act different, get a new experience. Always opposite, always opposite. So whatever way I can service you in making your brain remember that, always opposite. I have a saying called afkapu, and people are like, what? Afkapu. It's short for always remember Kung Fu Panda. So Kung Fu Panda, it's not a saying about always opposite, but maybe if I go then you'll remember it, right? So I'll do whatever to make the stick inside of your brain so that you will remember the key to creation is always opposite, always opposite. Shoot that brain, shoot that brain. All right, let's see what we have next on these slides. And I'm just thrilled to share this. This has been inside of me. I got a little lost in all the slides, so I didn't finish it, but creation is to give. All right. If you want something, give it, right? In a relationship, a love relationship is the perfect example. So whatever you want to create, give it, because then it's there. So we might feel like we don't have money or we don't have surplus, but then when we cook a dinner for people, I don't know if you've read Neil Donald Walsh, I love the way he explains it. You think you don't have stuff, but when you start giving it, then you produce it while you give it, right? So when you want your husband to do something or you want him to pay more attention to him. And whatever you want, just start giving it. Don't wait for it. Don't wait. Create. If you want to be a creator, if you want to be a leader, or you want to sit like this and the world is all, that's okay. I'm not putting you down. A lot of people are waiting, but if you want to be a creator, you want to be in contact with creator from above that created you, this life force, just do it, man. Nike. You can't fail. You can't fail. If your brain tells you I gotta look good, I gotta be professional, bullshit lie. You don't need to be professional. It's a lie. It's a lie. It's a lie. Don't listen to the lies. Really. So you create it in the instant that you give it, right? Yeah. So thank you. It's been a while since I made these slides. So what is creation? Yeah, now we talk a lot about creation. Let's just look at what this is, right? It's something completely new. It wasn't there before. I was created. I wasn't here in this world. I was created somehow at some time, at some point, right? It's new. Like that's, we're talking about creating a new experience. It's unimaginable. You can't imagine it. Visionary is important. And I know that it manifests, But in my experience, when reality comes, when what I've dreamt of comes, it's never like I imagined it. And that's the beauty. If I have to, like, if I want it in a certain way, I can't see it. But when I let go of that, it takes me by surprise that it's there. That's what I mean when it's unimaginable, because it's something you've never seen before. You can dream about the money, you can dream about the love relationship, but when it does come, it's not the way you expected it to. I've yet to experience that my actual visioneering is going to happen. I do believe it can, but until we get there, or until I'm there, when I get what I want, it's always different. So I hadn't been able to imagine it at all, but I can just notice, wow, I've actually gotten everything I wanted, but it I just had to notice it, right? It's never seen before. You're going to create something you've never seen before. I can help you with those steps to into creation. And creation is something unseen. It's something you're in darkness, and then it becomes whoa. So you have to go through darkness. You have to go through uncertainty. You have to go through not knowing. You have to go through something uncomfortable. You have to go through something scary. You have to go through something boring. So, but it's a brand new experience, and it's brand new results. You don't want the same results. You want new experiences and new results that are created in a co-creation with the creating force, with creator, right? And those results are magnificent. The ones you can create, if you're controlling everything, if you're creating, it's going to be the same. So you want to see, if you want to plan everything and know everything, you're going to get the same. If you want to see the steps ahead of you, like one step is good, one action, but if you want to know all the steps ahead of you, you're just going to build the same thing. You're never going to get something new into you if you want to control. So a lot of my clients, well, me myself, I want to see things. I just want to see it. No, just do it, man. Trust. You got to trust. So that's what creation is. And please leave a comment wherever this is going out. If I'm talking too fast, if something's helping, if something's not, I'm very open to feedback. Okay, so this is important. You can't plan it. This is creation. It's something completely new. Therefore, you can't plan it. Just can't plan it. I'm not saying not to schedule your day. You should schedule your day. You should carve out time intentionally. But don't get stuck in wanting to prepare and plan things. You're not creating when you're planning. You're creating when you're setting dates. You're scheduling. And you're carving out time. You're being intentional with your time. That's part of creation. But don't confuse the two. Don't confuse you preparing because you want to look good and you don't want to face looking foolish. You got to, if you're not willing to face to look foolish, you're not going to help people out there. There's a price for everything. This is the price. It's not sure that you're going to look stupid, but if you're not willing that to face criticism or people thinking you look stupid, you're not willing to take a chance and look dumb, then you're not taking the risky, you're not going to get the risk reward. You've got to be able to risk something. And what you think about yourself or what you think other people think about yourself, it's going to disappear once you step out into this unknown and you get feedback from people of how much you can help them by just being yourself. The saying, share your shit and make a living out of it. When you get feedback from people that love that you shared your shit, shared your insecurities, that you were so honest, when you get that feedback that you create value by just being you, you're going to forget about wanting to look good because that's just in the past. Doesn't really matter. So you can't plan it. If you say that, you're lying. So what? Oh, so for some reason, okay, yeah. So you can plan it if you're tapping into your creative powers and you're manifesting and you're visualizing. But the way we normally plan and prepare in a normal mind. So let's go through what a normal mind is. Now I know why I made this slide. So you can't plan it. You can't use your normal mind to create it because then you're planning alone. You're not in contact with potential customers. You're not out there creating. You're not being risky. You're not taking chances. You're not putting yourself out there. You're not going to be in contact. You sit alone with your brain, right? So what is a normal mind? It's disrupted. It's automatic thought patterns. It will tell you this, when this, then that. You know, the logic. No, when I have more money, then I'll invest. It's logical, right? It hasn't been disrupted. So when you're in an undisrupted mind that just goes when this, then that, the logic that I taught in school that my parents said, the money doesn't grow on trees, all these lies that we hear, right? So when your brain is just blood, impulses, and switches, and that's governing it, then it's working against you. Your normal mind is not made for creation because your brain is fearful and lazy and on automatic. It's not made to work with you in your creation process unless you start taking, when you start managing your mind, then you can use it for good. But when it's just on automatic and you haven't trained it and you're just listening to it, it's lying. Okay, so there's another slide of what's a normal mind. It's unaware, it's pre-programmed, and it's habitual on automatic. That's our normal mind. That's how we have our mind because we grow up, unfortunately. So when we grow up, yeah, when we grow up, our mind becomes like this. When we're children, our minds are perfect. And then we become adults and we need to off program ourselves. So when your brain wants to see the steps, you kill creation. So I hear this all the time. Oh, I just have to be ready. No, it's the world's biggest lie. Do it, then you're ready. Waiting to be ready, never gonna happen. Never gonna happen. I just want to see the steps. I just want to feel. No, it's not what it's about. Yes, I made some slides now. Yes, you can do it better. But if I didn't make my first webinar where he was completely confused, my two people bought of it and they're creating the most amazing miracles and rolling other. If I hadn't done it because I want to be prepared, he wouldn't have saved his life, his daughter's life. Like he bought anyway. He stayed there. He's like, what is this woman on? She's talking so fast. The slides are going fast. Like, and then all of a sudden I said something and he just paid right there on Zoom on the call. And it lasted 3 hours instead of 1.5. If I hadn't done that because I wanted to look good and be prepared, of course it's a little embarrassing hearing the feedback, but that doesn't matter because we're creating miracles now. It's amazing. Don't see the steps, see the magic. This is what I want you to remember. And again, this is my first creation of this presentation. And now I just wanted to get it out there. So it might stop and then that's it. Caution. Warning, your brain is a liar. Do not listen to it. Do not listen to your brain. Liar, liar, pants on fire. Creation. This is all about the 5 laws of creation. Creation happens when you do the opposite of what your brain says. Even getting out of bed early. Like I did in my business coaching, my 5-day Pop Your Business Challenge at 5 a.m. Danish time. And first time I did it was 6 a.m. And my first fan here in Denmark, Eva, I was talking to her and she said, is it 6 in the morning? And she's like, I said, sure. Do you want to make business or you want to sleep? And like, whoa. And it changed her life. And she started doing 5 days where she walked 5 kilometers, 5 a.m. with a light on her head. So every day for 5 days, 5 o'clock in the morning, she'd be out walking for an hour with people doing it simultaneously online. So your brain will say a lot of foolish things. If you don't have a coach, if you're not in an environment, you're going to listen to that psychopathic liar inside your head, which is your brain. So I highly recommend you get a coach. It doesn't have to be someone that you feel comfortable with. It just has to be a coach that can interrupt your brain and give you the love and support you need, but also the loving interruption. So do the opposite of what your brain says, because you get to overrule the brain. Yes, creation comes from inspiration. When your brain is inspired, you use your brain to put a question mark and just be interested, be curious. When the brain starts condemning or assessing, even yourself or others, when you start to assess, you're on the wrong track, because assessment will lead to some kind of judgment, will lead to prejudice. Sorry, maybe my coughing is a sign that it's something profound. So when you're curious, when your mind is curious, then you're in inspiration mode. I wonder if that could be. Like there are these little sparks of inspiration and questions that go into our subconscious mind, and that's what creates new results, new money, new love relationship. Just because when we're on the automatic, it's old habitual thoughts from our childhood that only recreates stuck in childhood, right? The bad part about childhood, not the good one. So what is creation? It comes from inspiration. What is inspiration? New ideas. What if, hey, wait a minute. Didn't you tell me that too? That when I have more money, then didn't you also tell me hey, brain, wait a minute. What the freak are you talking about? Wait a minute. What if? That's creation. That's the inspiration that leads to creation. What can cause inspiration and creation? So these aha moments, also near-death experiences, shock birth, big unexpected events. If I like flash my boobs right now, you'd have a shock maybe. So I can actually do that sometimes in my coaching if it serves a purpose, right? Not just for fun, but for you to serve you. So shocks. I know Tony Robbins. I heard this. I haven't seen it. He said someone was saying something, probably really sad story. He said, "Wait a minute, did you fart?" So this interruption can cause new inspiration and creation, or new ways of thinking. The brain just goes automatically in its brain path and its impulses and blood flow. So what creates creation? A big bang, brand new idea. And I hope I'm inspiring you to think different. You get some new ideas. Put new ideas in your head. Be open to new ideas. Shoot the old ones. What if all the old thoughts and ideas that you've had have gotten you where you are? Great. Do you want something else? Try some new ideas. Here's an idea. You can work 1 hour a week. Nobody believes that, but you can. I did it. You can definitely do it. So my work was to get the kids to school without shouting their heads off. Very important for me. I'm a mom. This is my first job. I had to learn that, is to be there for my children and be loving. It took a while. But when I've done that on time, but not so fixated that they're on time that I'm a crappy mom, but just lovingly getting there. And then they come on time first, be loving first. And then I walk. I ran at one point every morning by the ocean, because they go to school right by the ocean, into the forest, jump into the ocean, swim in the freezing cold water. It was my former angry wife shock treatment. I'm not an angry wife anymore, but I used to use that. So when I've done that, and then I make a memo on my phone, I say something profound, or at least I think it's profound, because I'm inspired, I'm in nature. That's my work. That's what I do. If I don't do that, what can I do for you? Right? So I want to present to you a new idea. You can make a living by being yourself. When you learn how to just be yourself 100%, you're going to provide so much value that you never imagined it could be that easy. You just get to go through some things you don't want to. So here's a brand new idea. You can work 1 hour a day, and the rest of the day you're in the forest. You're doing good things for yourself. You're making a Facebook Live because you got that energy flowing out of you. You can't hide it, and you're like, take care of you first, and then you get to deliver. But you also give first by in service, and we'll get back to that. That's a whole thing about your mentality in sales and your life. But if you want love, give it to yourself, right? Give love to yourself. Take care of yourself. Take care of your children. That's what you're here for. You can't skip that part. Not when you're a woman, not when you're a mother. It's your children. And I do this for them to be a better mom. It goes hand in hand, right? That is what creation. When you take actions in the right order. So even out throughout my day, so my kids to school without screaming, I had to get that first, because I was screaming to get them there on time, and it was guilt. It was, I needed mommy credits, but when I turned it around, that's the right order. That's the right flow. Loving, happy mom first, to not shout at the poor little creatures that I've created, and put them to school and enjoy it, and then take care of myself, then say something profound, then go home, be on the camera, be on here interviewing people, whatever it is, that's your business. And believe me, your brain will say you can't live like that, or you can't live off this. You can. You have done it, and you can. And I'm by far not successful in any other means than just creating a life of being myself. So you can do it. You can do it. If I can manage my mind, which I was completely managed by, if I can manage my mind, meaning manage my emotions, so can you. It's all about emotions, because the brain sends impulses that makes you scared, makes your heart beat faster, and makes your mouth dry. Those are emotions, right? And then when you do what you're afraid of, it's going to disappear. So what creates creation? This is the first lesson. It's the law number one, and it's the first thing in law number one. In order, it's the first thing is sequence. So the first law is heaven's first law is order. And in that first law, the first part is about sequence. So the right order is always opposite. I hope this camera goes so you can see me, right? What creates creation? You create creation, but you only create creation when you do things in the opposite order than your brain tells you. So it's great. If your brain tells you something, you just know, okay, do the opposite. Don't take that coaching. Okay, take that coaching. Your heart will tell you one thing and your brain will tell you another thing. Where does inspiration come from? So sequence, I don't know, the sequence of these slides is a little puzzling to me right now, but I'll go with the flow, right? So where does inspiration come from? Where does it come from? It comes from outside and inside, right? Beautiful pictures I've chosen here. And it goes well with the story I told you about what I do after I deliver the kids. Like you live the life, you tell me or you choose yourself. I had clients that just said how they want to live, and then you do that. You don't wait until you have more time. You just say, I'm only working that hour. That's it. That's how I open my calendar. So you choose and the world will follow. You can do something, people say, that's not possible. I've said it so many times. If you make a decision and you lead the way, the world will follow in that flow that you've decided. So I will encourage you to do these things that creates inspiration. Carve out a life where you feel peace inside. If you don't have peace, jump into the freezing ocean or something else. That's what I did. When you are touched by nature and you're outside or whatever it is that touches you, it's mostly nature that has that impact. When you take that deep breath, when you meditate, when you do those things, that's where inspiration comes from. And then you get a thought and then you take action. Let's call this person. Let's do that. That's the Feng Shui flow. Feng Shui is a Chinese tidying up method, and it means different things. But to me, it's that flow from thought to action. Sorry. And when you're outside and you've taken the action, it could be swimming in the freezing cold water. It could be walking in the forest. You're making love to yourself, right? You're giving yourself love and power and energy, so then you have something to give to others, right? It would be foolish to be stuck at work, working hours. Why would we sit there in an office being all tired? I gotta go to boxing training. So I'm looking at my watch. But this is where inspiration comes from. Outside, that evokes something on your inside that God put inside of your heart and your DNA, right? That your creation powers that you have inside of you. So inspiration occurs when something outside matches your inside. And it's the beauty of the nature, and it. So yeah, the wisdom of your soul and your heart awakens. When you dream, you're in contact with Creator. Dream more, see more, but also take the action. As soon as you get the thought, do it. I won't do a Facebook Live. I don't feel ready. I didn't feel ready today. I just put on a different background to be of more service, because otherwise you couldn't concentrate. I didn't get time to put on makeup, but I'm shining anyway because I'm talking about a subject that I really, really love. And I have so much to give when it comes to this. There's not a soul that passed me by where I wouldn't welcome them with open arms and give them. Don't you want to create a life where you have time for that? You can do it. So easy. Just do things in the right order, opposite of what your brain says. Reach out to me. I'm happy to help you, client or no client. I'm helping you. I'll give you resources. Also happy to sell it to you, to enroll you, because I know that it's a sin not to sell when you know that you can help somebody. I'm happy to go through the uncomfortable of asking people to pay me money while we're talking. It can be uncomfortable, but I know it'll save their lives. So I'll go through that to sell to you or make you understand how important selling is, but in the right order. You service first, you give. On your 5 days, if you create 5 days for free for somebody, you serve, you serve, you serve. Day number 5, when you've been together with them for 4 days and it's day number 5, you think, how can I serve these people in front of me the best? Oh, if I actually sell to them and get them in a committed relationship, I can give them even more service, because that's the way to service to them. So we sell to service. We sell to service, and we really want to help people. And if they don't want to buy, it's not a problem. We'll help them on their way. People don't really take service when they're not buying, but they could. I'd be happy to help everybody. So when you're relaxed, when you're at ease, where you're connected outside in nature, for me, that's the place to be, right? And you can't when you're stuck in an office working. So that's why you should work this way, where you're working on your phone, you do some recordings, you do some lives. Now I'm sitting down, being more teaching more and being more present than being outside. It also has value, but I didn't start out like this. I didn't start with a PowerPoint presentation. This is 3 years down the line from what I'm doing here in Denmark. So inspiration comes when you're relaxed, at ease, and connected to source, creator, and God. That's where creation comes from. Let's see what's on the next slide. Yeah. Law number 1 is important. Order is so important. It might seem strange to you, like even when you do your landing page for your 5-day challenge that you give to people, you don't have to call it a challenge. When you coach with me, we go through step-by-step very easy. You get a landing page, and then you order a banner, but you send out the landing page and you start inviting people before the banner is done. So there are these steps that it's so important that, like when I did it in Denmark, I got the idea, I think on a Wednesday, and I did it on the Monday. It's that feng shui manifestation, being in flow, taking inspired action, not being congested, just doing it. And it was so important for me that I didn't wait to have the banner to look good. I just put the title on and I just invited people. You can even start inviting before you have your landing page, because you're out there saying, you just need to know what time you're going to be on and what your topic you're on. You can have a title, but you don't really have to have the title. And the title is something fast, like, are you also using your kids as an excuse? That's one woman that I had that I taught to do this. So whatever shit you're in the middle of, you just make a 5-day around it. You liberate yourself because you get to share all your shit that you're in, but you also help others. So for example, my first coaching client, Rachel, she found me because I did an online show where I was so, I don't think I have any more slides for you. I'm going to stop sharing. Yeah, it's actually about her. So we're on the right track here. So I did an online show called Make Love Not War, How to Stop Fighting and Start Enjoying a Fun, Fulfilling Relationship Now. And I did that because I was stuck in anger, hence my angry wife shock treatment, running into the freezing ocean. And I couldn't understand why I hated my husband so much when I loved him so much. So I was just completely honest on these online talks with couples, counselors, experts. I've also done a lot of work with John Gray. That was later on. This was my first online show. I never been in front of the camera before. And then the audience that have seen my online shows, they get to book a call with me, right? So I enrolled them into my 12-month program, which is just the same as my online show was called. Now, when I talked to Rachel, she was crying. So the reason she was crying, to the camera here, is because she thought she was all alone in the world being so angry. Nobody has ever been honest about their anger before, but I was just curious. I wanted to fix this. I'm like, I know I love him. Why do I? And she felt connected immediately. She became my first client, not because I was an expert. I was an expert at screaming and losing my shit, right? Because she thought she was all over the world. So if you do a Facebook Live right now, you share your shit, and you make a 5-day around it, a 5-day free challenge, or whatever you want to call it. Challenge may not be the right word here. Then you are of service to people because they don't feel alone. They know how you know how they feel. They're not alone. So we all sit with our shit all tucked in, and then somebody starts talking about, I feel like that too. Nobody ever said that. So she enrolled. I'd never had a coaching client before. I never did that sales script that's called the iSolve that Shanda Sumner, my coach, teaches. I didn't even do it. I only did the last part, which is what credit card would you like to put that on? And I just set the same price that I was paying for my coaching. So I had nothing prepared, but I'd shared my shit. I'd done my online show. So pay attention every time I'm coughing. I showed myself to the world. I did some steps that I had to go through some boredom. I had to go through some fear. I had to do some Facebook Lives. And then I was there 3 months after I started this online show with Rachel on the phone in South Central and in LA by accident, really downtown South Central. And I was afraid to go to the motel and it smelled a little bit like pee. And I was on the phone with Rachel, and she was crying. She was so happy to have found me. I already made an impact on her life. That's why if you do a Facebook Live and you share your insecurities and you invite people to come to be with you, to get service from you, to talk about this topic, even though you don't feel like a teacher or an expert, you will help them so much by just sharing your shit or sharing your things, like instead of staying in it. So I got her credit card information, but I didn't know where to put it. I had no idea. Like it made a PayPal and it was all over our PayPal account, and yeah. So that's the right order of things. Sell it, and then you figure it out. You deliver it. You fill it out. That is the right order. So some people will say, maybe programmers, and maybe there could be two truths. But if you're in creation, you're creating something new, this is the way to go. You sell it first. I never coached, but I have a lifetime of experience of make love not war, of turning or switching from love to hate and back again. So you're selling yourself. You don't know this because I didn't mention it, but when you coach with me, you make a living out of being you, and you don't need another course to be you. You don't need anything from anybody except the loving interruption of your brain. Could be from me. I invite you, definitely always looking for people to help. So you don't need another online course. You don't need a website. You don't need a program. You don't need blah, blah, blah. You need to get interrupted and do something you're afraid of and be of service to people. And doing a Facebook Live and inviting people to your free 5-day, whatever you want to call it, that's it. That's the only thing, right? So why don't we just do that? Look, I don't know. You need a coach. You need some love. You need some inspiration. You need a kick in the butt. You need someone to tell you your excuses are not true. Your brain is lying to you. And so just Rachel became my client. She was stuck in anger and she became my client. And I didn't have the recipe. It came to me later. I do now have the recipe because I failed at managing my emotions so many times that I now have the recipe on how to manage your emotions, because I had to pick myself up and figure it out in my relationship with my husband, right? So that taught me everything about leadership. Now I use the same leadership in my business coaching. I was always a business coach. I was always a business person. It's my jam. So it's easy for me. There's something inside of you that's easy for you to do. I call it your jam. So that's what you're selling. But your stuff, your story, that's really your stuff. So my story, when it was how angry I was with my husband. And then I got that client. And then because I got the client and because I already was doing the online shows, I was tapping into my creative powers. And I remember being in the basement talking to potential experts for my online show. And I was in the basement because it's a different time zone in Denmark. So it was a daytime for them, but nighttime for me. And when I came up to my family, I was a better version of myself. All the stuff that would have made me in my relationship couldn't touch me. Can't touch me. Nah, 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 nah. Why? Because I was down there. I wasn't even on the screen. I was just scheduling and talking to potential guests on my online show. And I was just tapping into what I was meant to do here on planet Earth. And I was also getting ready to show myself to the world. And because I did that, I became a loving wife. And now I'm even a loving mother, which is, of course, everything that it's all about. Is for me to, because Make Love Not War came from my relationship with my mom. And she was stuck in her emotions. She could love me so much and then hate me. So I took that with me. And now I'm a loving mother, but because I'm in my creative power. So your business is what's going to transform your relationship with you, but also heal your children and make sure they're not stuck in those patterns, because you're going to transform your own life while transforming others. And all it requires is to do a Facebook Live and share your shit. Isn't that amazing? Isn't that easy? What a profound truth. I mean, hallelujah. Facebook can be a really bad thing to spend a lot of time on, but imagine that your whole life, your birth of yourself starts with a Facebook Live, because we're confronted with everything. What will people think of me? And friends and family, and the ones at school, everybody's parents at school. I've talked about the weirdest stuff on Facebook, but with an intention to provide service that I'd never dream about sharing. Like the thing you least want to share, I've shared because I knew I had to, it could help somebody. So these are the laws of creation, the 5 laws. This was the first law. I'm honing into delivering it to you structured, to be more of service, and to really get this material that I've been inspired by Bob Proctor, Shanna Sumner, and really myself. They just recall what's inside of me. So you get my imprint, my interpretation, my uniqueness into this stuff. Is my unique sentence is really this feedback. So when you do 5 days, 5-day free training with people, you will get feedback. And that's the most important thing. So feedback, you can live off that. You don't need money when you get feedback. Like my first fan, Eva, here in Denmark, I'm still listening, and I can't fathom that how much what a fan can do when it's a fan because you're you, right? So when you buy something for superficial reasons to get rich quick, look good, like that's the result you're going to get. But if you invest in something from me because you think I'm authentic and you want to be authentic, that's what you're going to get. But if you have the wrong motive of buying from me or anyone else, you're not going to get this profound experience out of it. So the motive means a lot. When you do this work and you do a 5-day training and you get feedback, it's going to blow your mind, because you don't need to be an expert. You just need to be you. This is what my clients tell me. They never figured, they always thought they had to, you know, be something or like do something or like just be you. And in my training, if you're my client, you just come on and you get love and support by being you. You don't wait till you feel good. So there's a big important line in my contract is don't retract, reach out. Because like my first client, Rachel, I forgot to tell the story. The real story is that she said, when I feel more confident, then I'll do a Facebook Live. That's when I knew, wrong order. When you do a Facebook Live, then you feel more confident. So that's the story I really wanted to share about Rachel, because it's always opposite. Thank you so much for listening. I have no idea who this goes out to. I'm just excited to share it. And I'm excited that my life is, that I can call it work. So you can live by being yourself. You truly can. And it's so much easier because you have you have unlimited resources of yourself. You don't need to feel wrong. I felt wrong in jobs so many times and just felt like I couldn't be myself. This is the recipe where you can be you, and you change people's lives and you make it better by just sitting there and being you. Isn't that amazing? So I sound like I'm completely drunk or like amazed. So what do I want to say is last words before I shut off the camera and go to my boxing training. Yeah, it's okay. This is going to be a little bit of a boring ending. It's like if you're an MP3 file that you sell, or you're a CD-ROM, right? A physical thing. What I teach you, if you're interested in coaching with me or listening or learning more about it, is I teach you how to do a free online, a 5-day event with people. If you don't have a business, that's perfect. If you don't have a website, that's perfect. I teach you how to use Aweber, make a landing page so you get the email grabber. So the email grabber is the only important thing about a website. A website doesn't convert traffic unless you have tested it and then you get traffic to it. So a landing page is all you need. You can also make a nice banner. I recommend that. I have a banner. So everything is made step by step in small steps, 1 to 2 steps every day. But you can actually start your own business in 5 days. Get a landing page, title and tagline, which is the title, or you also, whatever shit you're in, right? That's your title. And you just start inviting people. And then you invite them to your Zoom room. When you do the Aweber, you get an automatic welcome email set up for you. I do that or you do it. We'll figure that out. That could also be a virtual assistant or have some other virtual assistant do it, right? So you get to manage your time in this model because you deliver your service in 1 hour per week to a group. So you never sell one-to-one. And you can be up and running in 5 days. The meaning that you start now, this week, these 5 days, so 10 days. You make a landing page. You could actually do it in 5 days. You make a landing page, you start inviting people. You can easily do it in 5 days. You can also take 10 days if you want to. And then you start the following week and you've invited people. And then you get to experience, because they might as well be clients, right? So you get to put yourself in the future, be of service to people. And I take you by the hand. My people that were on my first webinar here 2 weeks ago, not even, I do things really, really fast. That's why it's called 5-day pop your business. So I'm super impatient. So I'll push you. And then because I'm training you to be a leader and go lead your people. I don't want you to be stuck inside my room getting all my juice all the time. You be you with them, right? That's where it happens. And even though you don't feel like you have anything to give or you're not an expert, you can live of whatever resources, whatever situations, whatever God's handed you that was felt bad. That's what you're here to share. So we all have these resources. Nobody else is coaching this. Nobody else is teaching this. The fact that you can just be yourself, and that provides the most value to people, and your life becomes so much more easy in your life with your family, and then money becomes love, and love becomes money. And if you don't like selling, this is the way to really know that selling is servicing, and you're asking for the money to save their lives. You're actually saving lives with this. This is what I'm doing, and I get to see my clients save their own life and other people's life and their children. And it's by this one simple thing. You can just be yourself. You don't need another course. You don't need a website. You need a web or a landing page or some other. That's what I teach you. A Calendly link so people can book a call. After the 5 days, they book a one-on-one with you. They know you. They know they want to work with you. On day number 5, you give everybody an offer, whoever is on your 5-day challenge, free thing you're giving out. You sit together with them. Whatever is inside of you will be carved out in 4 themes for every day. And then day number 5, you give them an offer. The only thing in what I teach and coach, so don't retract, reach out. That's the rules of engagement in my coaching for me to help you, because you can really just be yourself. Just whatever it is, just say it, right? And don't wait, don't retract, reach out. But the other one non-negotiable is that I teach you to sell a group program that lasts 12 months, and minimum, I have to recalculate, it's 2,000 Danish. So it will be minimum, let's just see here, 2,000 divided by, I don't know if it's 6. So, okay, so $333. So you sell something that's a minimum, and then you increase your price, right? So if you're totally new to business and you think that oh, I can't charge that, minimum $333 or $300 or $350. That's the minimum price tag to give enough service to people. And what you're enrolling them into, your 12-month program that you're enrolling them into, it's just your 5 days. So whatever title you come up with when you work with me, and it's a very simple title. It's not fancy at all. It's just that's what you're selling. So people want a destination. They don't care about the airplane. You sell them the destination, where you talk right into their problem and your stuff, what you're meant to serve them. They will give you feedback. So you might not know your program, or you might seem counterintuitive. Just do the 5 days. On day number 5, I coach you to give them an offer using Shanda Sumner's iSolve model, which is 5 questions that really make selling profound, and also coaching afterwards very profound. And you just do that on day number 5, and then you do another 5 days and another 5 days, and then you have a couple of clients that pay $333. Then you have whatever, you have 5 of those. That's enough money to get you off going, right? I don't know what your expenses are, but this way you can have 10, 20, 30 people on your group program. And it doesn't matter, because you're an MP3, right? The more that are on, doesn't matter. You can always hire an assistant coach. So this is scalable. And I help you. Everything you do, you only do it once, and then they send it out automatic on email to people. I make all those funnels, all the technicalities, but from hacks, not expensive. Advanced system is just Aweber, Calendly, Dropbox, just to get you started, and that can go on. And I use Thinkific now where you can log in and see all these things, which is also has a free version. So you don't need a lot of money, and you'll be in break even when you do my coaching fairly fast. I got one client that she's been with for once, sold for 24,000 Danish. You have to convert that. She never done that before. So my coaching, you just get one client, and then you're in break even, right? So over 12 months, you not getting more than one client it's pretty unlikely. So you get to be in break even pretty fast, and then just scale up. Scale up. So thank you so much for listening. These are the laws of creation that came to me when I did this business coaching in Denmark. I've business coached in the States a lot, and I did my Lead with Love training that I love to do. Leadership is great knowledge also in business. And other than that, I did IT startups, IT companies. I worked in sales for over 20 years, been a sales manager, CEO, blah, blah, blah. Also an attorney at law. Do a lot of things, but nothing come close to this. This is like therapy for you and other business and leadership. It's transformational work. That's what it is. So get ready to transform your own life and other people's life. Reach out to me, make some comments, make some noise. I'll put a calendar link in, and let's get connected.